Hello everyone, my name is Sesay. I am a registered nurse and I am a family nurse practitioner student at the University of St. Augustine, and I am in Dr. Beauvais' fall operations and quality management in healthcare class of December 2024. And today we'll be discussing the Mayo Clinic. These are the three shields of the Mayo Clinic on the right, just underneath where it says Mayo Clinic. And they're intertwined, and each of them represents clinical practice, education, and research. And we'll elaborate on this as we go along. So on the agenda, we have what's the Mayo Clinic, who are they, their customer service and research efforts, strategic goals, leadership, education, and we'll summarize at the end. So the Mayo Clinic was founded originally by the brothers, their doctors, Dr. William and Dr. Charles, in the 1800s, and it is one of the largest nonprofit organizations, and its hospital in Rochester is considered one of the number one hospital in the world by Newsweek. We already reviewed the three shields on the first slide. The Mayo Clinic has the CARES program, which is a Career Advancement Research and Education Summer Program for high schoolers to be able to explore what their career aspirations might be, what they're interested in, through a hands-on experience approach. So putting patients' needs first is at the core of what the Mayo Clinic does. This is true for a lot of healthcare organizations, and the way we were able to handle the COVID-19 pandemic and the Ebola crisis, as well as the HIV crisis, is a testament of how us as healthcare providers are able to make those necessary sacrifices for our patients and for their families, and show them that we're in their corner no matter what the state of uncertainty might be. And I think I speak for all of us when I say we were very uncertain in the very beginning, but we did the best we could with the resources that we had. Even when we had a shortage, we still did the best we could, and we showed up for our patient, and that's what the Mayo Clinic does. It serves over 1.3 million patients annually, and this is nationally, and they're patients who come from all across the world, over 130 countries. This is the information for their patient care experience team. They can be reached via phone, email, or mail. So this definition of research by Dellis and colleagues in 2017 is that research is the search for scientific knowledge, which helps to inform us of the development of novel medications and techniques, and provides a deeper understanding of several scientific topics. And this could be through qualitative, so we could get this information from patients' experiences with the Mayo Clinic, and we can also deduce that from the quantitative data of the number of patients that the Mayo Clinic serves and continues to see on a yearly basis. So there are different types of research studies. We have standard lab research, we have randomized clinical trials, which the Mayo Clinic invests millions of dollars in its research efforts. It has about 1,000 total research personnel, including physician researchers, career scientists, core research labs. They have numerous human research studies, tens of thousands of peer-reviewed publications, and they also offer active grants and contracts to continue to foster their research efforts. So in this slide as well, in the notes, I would ask that you just review this part that contributes to why research is so important and why the Mayo Clinic is so committed to it. So a study of finasteride use in males with prostate cancer over the course of 7 years found that it reduced the incidence of prostate cancer from 24.4% to 18.4%. However, they note that even though the research supports the effectiveness of finasteride, it was not able to be implemented fully or universally because of financial constraints. I say this to say that research is great for knowledge, right? When we know what the new research says, we'll be able to not only inform ourselves but also be able to take that into practice and be able to inform our patients and help build that trust that they have in us as caregivers, that we know what we're educating them on, and this might help them to implement that in their own lives and be able to be more involved in getting better outcomes for themselves, by being more cooperative with their medications, or being more cooperative with their follow-ups and yearly screenings, or whatever screenings that they may need, maybe every 3 years or 5 years, depending on their risk, or depending on what their provider suggests. The research helps, but we need to be able to implement it, essentially. So for instance, the hand hygiene research, that it's the number one way to reduce the spread of infection. This is true. However, if we do not have the resources, if we're not providing accessible water, hand sanitizer, soap, and also educating the staff and patients and their family members of the importance of it, as much as possible, then it's just that research, right? The research doesn't end when the study's done. It continues on. It's dynamic. So we have to be able to implement as much as we can, and the Mayo Clinic is very good with this. They're very good at providing their staff and their patients with the resources that they need to be able to implement these research studies. So Mayo Clinic's strategic goals are composed of particularly eliminating bias in medicine and science, and to bridge the gap of lack of access to healthcare. So their efforts are geared towards increasing healthcare availability, accessibility, affordability, and encouraging an everybody in approach. So they want to cast a broad net to get as many people as possible covered and having access to healthcare, so to speak, to address the discrimination and the disparities which a lot of populations continue to suffer from. And they have their that was a reference to their weekly everybody in, when I mentioned the net being tossed so that everybody can be a part of these conversations, to create awareness and also to foster positive change. So leadership is more about influencing people, right? So it's not just about the position as CEO, or that's important because they make some of the biggest decisions that influence the organization as a whole. And one of the reasons the Mayo Clinic has been able to survive for over a century is because of its great leadership at its core, that serves its people, that is able to work together interconnectedly, to always put the patient first, and the company's missions and values, century-long values, to continue to uphold them. That's why it has continued to maintain its reputation for as long as it has, and continue to garner the trust of its community as long as it has. So there are different types of leadership, including servant leadership, transformational leadership, which is basically being a part of something bigger than yourself. There's transactional leadership, which is basically rewarding staff for what they do right, and if something's done wrong, for example, if they make an error, then they are chastised or blamed for it or punished for it, which we try to gear, or the research is encouraging us against that. It's trying to move us away from that, because it doesn't encourage the staff to grow, and where there's no growth, there's stagnation. So we don't want to be stagnant. We want our people to grow. We want our organization to grow, and of course our patients benefit from that. So the Mayo Clinic, some of its education strategies include its values council, which again goes back to the Mayo brothers in the 1800s and the Sisters of St. Francis as well, and their Franciscan legacy of upholding respect, integrity, here there's an acronym here for it. It's called Rich Ties: Respect, Integrity, Compassion, Healing, Teamwork, Innovation, Excellence, and Stewardship. And these are the values that the Mayo Clinic stands on to this day. They also have a research-oriented medical school in Rochester, and they also have campuses in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and Jacksonville, Florida. And as we know, schools help to train and basically produce the next generation of healthcare providers that may make even bigger change than the current healthcare providers in our landscape. So the Mayo Clinic is exemplary of what a high reliability organization is through its service excellence, leadership, education efforts, its research, and its strategic planning to minimize that equity gap again. So the Mayo Clinic continues to be, and hopefully continues to be, and I hope it maintains its torch as one of the biggest innovators in equity, inclusion, and diversity, so that its patient population will continue to benefit from it and continue to grow, to be a reflection of how far they've come, and how by holding strong to their beliefs of, as long as the patient is placed first, everything else comes into place. So the Mayo Clinic continues to be committed to national and global population health, and is truly a major player in the healthcare industry at large. Thank you so much for your time and being a part of this presentation. I'd appreciate any feedback, any questions, and I wish you happy holidays.